Welcome back to my channel, and today we will be talking about the book Confessions. It's basically about like this teacher, her daughter ends up like getting murdered, and then after that, it's like people think she like drowned, but it turns out she actually did not drown. She actually was like murdered and stuff like that. And like in the first few chapters of the book, it's literally discussed in like the book on how like basically like for like a whole month straight at least everybody thought that she was like she drowned and everything, and then she basically said she went to the crime scene, and then she like checked the crime scene, and they found out that she was like murdered because of like how she found her daughter and stuff like that. And then the beginning of the book, she's also like with her students, and she's like, I know who killed my child, I know who murdered my daughter, it's two people in this classroom. And then after that, the rest of the chapters, like the rest of the book, is like going in about the murders, and like we find out more about who the murderers are, their connection, why they do it, why they did it. And there's like this for one person in the book. To me, I feel like he's a psychopath because he doesn't really like have any, how do I say, like he explains why he did it. He said he did it like, and like the ending to the part of the book, he explains that he did it was because he was just trying to find someone to like to basically do his like invention on, and he wanted to like shock her and stuff like that. Because like in the first part of the book, he like explains that he did it because he wanted her to like shock her and stuff like that. And something about like, I don't remember, it was like he wanted to shock her. And then after that, the other part is kind of like them thinking that like um one of them, it's like a flip-flop. It's like one part of the book is like, oh, um he's thinking, one person's thinking that they killed him when it was really him who killed him. And then it's like a whole flip-flop in the book. And then the other part is like him saying stuff like, oh, I killed her because it's like it goes deep into it, and then they kind of explain that the reason why he killed her was because she had like a lot of love, and she didn't feel like that love because like his mother didn't give him the love that he wanted. Like his character has a lot of mommy issues in the book. Like he is the capacity of mommy issues. Like his character, he doesn't really have like daddy issues that much, because like in the book it's discussed that his father did really like him and did try for him and all that stuff. But then there was like the mother, and basically what happened was that the mother was like this really smart person. She was like a scientist, and they got divorced because like the mother was like abusive towards him and would always hit him for like the littlest things, and he would have like cuts and bruises all over him. And so like the father ends up like getting divorced. They end up like getting divorced. He marries someone else, and then then the agreement of the divorce is that she is never to like contact him again or whatever. And then it's like, if that was the agreement of the divorce, why would you go through all of this when you know it's literally said in the divorce that she is no longer allowed to have any contact with him? It makes no sense. And then on top of that, he literally ends up murdering a 4 year old because he decides that she was getting too much love from the mother, and he didn't get that, so he was like jealous about it, and he was like really pissed off. And it's like, you have to have a lot of hatred in your heart to hate a 4 year old child. And then after that, he basically finds like someone to help him find like a target or whatever. They choose her, and then he ends up with said target. They end up doing it, and then after that, um, the reason why people find out is because like the other person ends up dropping her in the water in the pool. And then after that, they one of them ends up like making like she drowned, but then I find out that she didn't actually drown. And then, you know, stuff like that happen. But one part in the movie that people don't pay attention to is his psyche and like his mind, because in his mind he is like a person who thinks murder is okay. He doesn't like value human life and all that. And then on top of that, he ends up like falling in love with somebody else. Like he falls in love with someone, I forgot. And then after they end up like falling in love, she's like full on telling him the truth that he has mommy issues and all that stuff, he gets so upset to the point where he actually ends up murdering her too, just choking her out of nowhere. And the thing is, like, how come she did not fight back? That's one thing I want to know. Somebody is choking the life out of you. Why don't you fight back? Fight back. That's one thing I don't understand. I'm not trying to victim blame, but fight back. My God. And after that, he ends up hiding the body in the school, like in the laboratory or like the refrigerator somewhere. I think he hid the body in like the refrigerator. And then after that, he ends up like deciding that he wants to plant a bomb in the school. Why? And then they talk about like the stepmother, and it's like one thing I never understood was that he hated everybody and he was always trying to be a demon to everybody. But how come he did not like hate the stepmother and he didn't like try to harm the stepmother? Like they actually had a good relationship, and the stepmother is not even brought up that much in the book. And then on top of that, he literally talked about how he would like basically like harm his father and stuff like that, even though the father didn't even do anything to him. At least I don't think so. And then after that, there's another character who basically ends up stabbing their mother to death and then pushing her down the steps. The book is something else. And then on top of that, one of the characters, like, she basically ends up giving him like this psychological torture because she has a man that she was dating, and she got pregnant, and he had AIDS, and she didn't know he had AIDS, and they were gonna get married, but she decided that she no longer wanted to marry him because he had AIDS. And then after that, she became a single mother because of it. And then after that, she, in the book of the story, one thing I don't understand was that they had gave so much lead on making them think that they had AIDS, and he was torturing himself to the point where he thought he had AIDS and stuff like that. So he wanted to give people, his nails were grimy. He was just like not taking care of himself, and it was all because he thought he had AIDS. All for the book to turn around and for the mother to be like, no, you don't actually have AIDS. I just did that to you to get revenge. Because she literally states in the book that the reason why she did not call the police was because she knew that because he was a minor, he was gonna like, she said that in the book. The reason why she did not call the police because he was a minor and they would just let him back in society because they believe in rehabilitation. And that's literally the same thing that her husband like told her. Not husband, no, yeah, like it was like the husband. And there was another chapter, there was like, yeah, she was basically saying that her husband believed in rehabilitation and was trying to save him and da 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 and all that stuff. So at the end of the book, what happens is that it's him and the teacher again. Oh, don't forget. Oh, yeah. And there was also like the bullying stuff. There was like a bunch of classmates. And she said that the reason why she like allowed it to happen is because in her eyes she felt like he deserved it because of the murder. And I feel like, honestly, he should have just gone to jail and all of that. And he should just not have been allowed in the school. But the only reason why that happened was because she refused to go to the police, because in her head she knew that the bullying would have been like really bad, and it was in the book. It's a lot of twists and turns in this book. It's a really good book. It's a lot of twists and turns, I'll tell you that. And then at the end of the book, what happens is that she literally diffuses the bomb from the area that she was in. She gives the love letter that he made to his mother, sends the bomb to his mother's workplace, and then on top of that, calls the police, as if she didn't say in the middle part of the book, I'm not calling the police because the police aren't going to handle you the way that you should be handled, and because you're a minor, they're just going to allow you back in society. And she does all of that, even though she said, and it's like she does all of this, and then she like she does all of this in the end of the book, and then she's like, oh, I'm not gonna call the police. She calls the police, she defuses the bomb, she gives the bomb and sends it to the mother's workplace, all of that. And then on top of that, she like makes it them have like psychological like breakdown by thinking that he has AIDS when in reality he actually doesn't have AIDS. They actually reveal that, and her reason why she did that was to give him psychological breakdown, and because her husband believed that he could also be rehabilitated, and then on top of that he ends up finding that his mother um, ends up getting remarried, and then she ends up getting pregnant and all that stuff. It's a whole lot. And then after that, what else? I don't really think him and the mother actually have like a whole real conversation at the end of the book, because I'm pretty sure at the end of the book they don't even have a real conversation at all. And the whole point of this book was so he and the mother could like get back into each other, because he has mommy issues, but that actually does not happen in the book. They don't like get a better relationship or anything, even though he has super like mommy issues. I know that like in some parts of the book it's like someone, I think it was him and his mother, and they were like getting better or whatever, but he ends up like, oh my god, it's such a confusing book. I think he ends up, no, he doesn't actually end up turning himself in. Maybe it was like somebody else's mother, but I think it was his mother. But I know he goes to jail. I think the other boy ends up turning himself in, and then there's like a mother son relationship. I think it was his mom. It's such a confusing book, but it's like a really good book. But I know in the end what happens is that he does end up going to jail, though, because she calls the police on him. There is a bomb that is sent to his mother's workplace, and the love letter is sent to the mother's work. Because it is revealed that the whole reason he did this was just to get closer to his mother, so he was out here literally murdering innocent people just to get back to his mother. And he, in the book, it literally describes how he would do certain things and certain murders to get to his mother, because he knew that if he does the murders in certain places, it will get back to the father and not to the mother. And I'm like, you gotta be in a deep psyche mindset to do that. And that's just cruel. And then on top of that, he started talking about murder, and he was thinking about how right murder is, and I'm like, this. It is to me that I honestly believe that she had all right to do what she wanted to do, and that he rightfully deserved to go to jail, because it's like you can't be out here murdering innocent people just because you don't agree what they say, or just because you're out here doing it just for the fun of it. And the book is just something else. But I feel like if they ever do make a spin-off of the book, I feel like what they should do is like him be like in prison and him just like rot there. Because if you actually read the book and you went into his psyche and what he was thinking and his mindset, you would realize that there is no rehabilitating this boy, because he does not want it. All he wants is his mother. And even if he were to was put into jail, because like I said, there was no rehabilitating his character. He strictly did the things he did that were malicious and that were like cruel because he wanted to. It was no forcing him. I mean, this man literally was out here getting henchmen and was out here having partners in crimes for murdering little girls. He did not care. And on top of that, before he even started murdering little girls, he was out here harming animals and posting it online. So, yeah, and then he tried to use that as like a whole science project, and then he like manipulated her, and then he like murdered her, and then like his friend helped, and then it was just a lot. And I'm like, his character does not need to be in society. His character needs to be put in prison, and that's where his character is going to be. And I'm just very happy that happened to his character. That was a victory and a win-win for me in the book. A lot of twists and turns and everything, but I'm gonna give that book an 8 out of 10. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Yeah, I also forgot to add one part. There was also another part in the book where he actually did thought he had AIDS and stuff. I don't think I mentioned this, but he was literally out here slitting his wrist, and he was literally just like spreading his like blood on around like all this stuff in like the grocery mart and stuff like that. And then on top of that, his mom had to like come and get him, but he couldn't even get arrested for that. I don't know why. And his mom literally had to buy everything that had his blood on it. And I'm like, this character does not need rehabilitation. This character is doing what he wants to do on purpose, and this character ain't showing no remorse because he does not care. His character was just a horrible human being. And honestly, I'm glad they did not try to do a redemption arc, because even in the book, the mother was trying to get a redemption arc out of him because she didn't want to believe her son could be so cruel. And they didn't do that because he was just so cruel. As simple as that, his character was a cool character, and I'm just happy they didn't give him a redemption arc because it would have made no sense. It's like, how can you go and be such a horrible human being, do these horrible, terrible things, and then just change? I'm just glad that they just kept his character to be horrible, and they just like went into his psyche to see that he is a horrible character, and he stayed a horrible character because that's how his character is. He's just a horrible human being. And I also like how the fact that they brought up with his character being so horrible, they did why he did the things he did, and they gave his backstory and all that stuff. But at the same time, his character stayed on page, and his character, because at least to me, it wouldn't make any sense for his character to be changed or to be rewritten or to be given a redemption arc or to be given this hero thing, when the whole point of the book is for him to just stay this whole psychopathic, horrible human being, cruel character who does these things. And I'm just glad that they kept him this way, because his character truly has no does not have it in him to have a redemption arc. He doesn't need one because his character is just horrible. And I'm just glad they just made him stay this way instead of trying to fix him, because he's truly a character that's not going to be fixed, and it's just a bad person. That's just who his character is, and it is just what it is. And I'm very happy that they portrayed that in the book, because at least to me, it would make no sense of them trying to change him.